As CMOs, we have this constant balancing act between brand development and short pipeline development. And you never want to go into a board meeting saying, let me tell you about our latest thought leadership initiative. Nobody cares. But you look at the studies and they're like, no, absolutely. Actually, lack of thought leadership these days is a detriment in an ABM process. It's just one example of its importance. Have you been able to identify, or do you have a greater knowledge or understanding, or just even a thought of thought leadership and that kind of brand building component and its importance?
The reason nobody wants to hear you talk about your thought leadership in a board meeting is because it's often used in arrears to describe the value of something that didn't actually do what you thought it was going to do. If you don't pipeline from a pipeline driving activity, you go, well, but it drove great brand awareness and thought leadership. And that's why it gets a bad rap. But if you set a precedent of being able to track the things that are meaningfully moving the needle and can also, confidently describe what role thought leadership does play, then they do care. It matters in share of voice. It matters in community activation and scale. And if you can talk about how you ultimately get uplift and even pipeline impact, measurable pipeline impact from community activations, then that thought leadership becomes important. At Bug Crowd, I'm lucky to have just an incredible brand and community and social and content team. We have just the most creative, and described the team before that like this, but they're just cool and they get it. And the community likes them and they understand how to, tap into trends and put out meaningful content that resonates and people want to consume. And that has made a difference. Locking into that and not using it as a completely separate silo, but seeing the value in that and then tapping into it from a pipeline and demand perspective when you start to get the momentum. It's been really beneficial for our team. We've got some really cool social campaigns running right now. We've got a great community activation series. It just really helps with scale. And you can see the measurable impact through, again, share of voice, but also the way pipeline behaves when those activities are engaged.